Hi, Miguel here, back with another Naruto vlog. Today, we are doing volume, I don't even know anymore, 22. Volume 22, Comrades. Oh my goodness, I'm so far down the Naruto series that I am honestly losing track of which volume I'm on, like what number it is. I know where I am in the story, so I can easily find it, but still. So I mentioned in the previous video that I liked that Neji wasn't bringing up any of his past interactions with Naruto. Not yet, anyway. We see him reflect on it a little bit when we see him try to utilize his Byakugan to detect how many birds there are, and doesn't do so as accurately as he used to. So, or as accurately as we assumed him to be. So this volume actually focuses on Neji going up against Kidomaru. Real quick, it very quickly, excuse me, it very quickly finishes up and the battle between Choji and Jirobo and shows who won that one. Choji won, but he has collapsed. He won't be able to catch up with the group at this point, which is fair. He needs his rest after that really taxing battle with Jirobo. So this time, the group comes up to the Sound Ninja, and they try to attack them very sneakily by disguising themselves as Jirobo. But the Sound Ninja are fully aware of the trick. So Kidomaru stays behind to try and hold them off, but Neji decides to stay behind to fight Kidomaru, and I think I see where this is going from here. So we're going to pick them off one by one. So just as Choji stayed behind to head off Jirobo, Neji will stay behind to fight Kidomaru, and I'm assuming that first Kiba's going to stay behind to fight one of them, Shikamaru's going to stay behind to fight one of them, and Naruto is going to deal with Sasuke. I'm assuming that's how that's going to go. That's kind of a prediction. I kind of hope that Naruto and Sasuke will do something they do something a little different with that. I'm okay if they do it. It's just a tad predictable. We'll see. I'm pretty sure I know how this is going to go. But anyway, so this volume really focuses on Neji going up against Kidomaru, which I really like how it places that focus there. So Kidomaru he apparently has this power that lets him spit webs that are basically unbreakable because they're filled with chakra, right? And in turn, he also has a lot of arms for whatever reason. Apparently his jutsu are all spider related somehow. So, but this makes Neji the perfect opponent because we remember he has the gentle fist fighting style, which allows him to target specifically the chakra points in the opponent's body. And the same goes for these webs. Because no one else can break these webs because they're infused with chakra, Neji can do it because he knows how to break the chakra inside objects, apparently, as well as in opponents. So we do see Neji very briefly address Naruto and say, like, he remembers how Naruto called him a genius. He remembers how Naruto he remembers how Naruto tried to save him from being, from this crooked philosophy that he abided by during the shonen exams, and he recognizes that Naruto, if Sasuke really has gone to the wrong side of this story, then he knows that Naruto is the one person who can bring him back, because Naruto was the one person who was able to bring him back. And I like that. I like how Neji understands that. Honestly, this volume alone just skyrocketed Neji from one of my least favorite characters in the manga to one of my favorite characters in this entire series. Which I props to the manga for doing that. You made me really, really like this character, and it's purely because of the development that Neji has gone through since the Chunin exams, since being defeated by Naruto, and it's just great. It's such a great development. We saw it coming. I definitely saw it coming, but it didn't make it any less great. So Neji goes up against Kidomaru, and he tries to we learn a little bit more about how the Byakugan works. The Byakugan actually does have a blind spot, like a very small blind spot, but one that Kidomaru actually takes advantage of. And this is why, I think this is implied why he wasn't able to catch all the birds. He saw 7 birds, but I'm assuming that there was one bird right there in his blind spot, which is why he wasn't able to see all of it. And which the Byakugan isn't perfect, and that's why he also does the little explosion thing, the spinning rotation thing that like heads off any danger within a specific distance from him, because if someone happens to try to take advantage of that blind spot, he can just like explode all around him and put them at a better position where his Byakugan can catch them. Additionally, since he moves around a lot, if he moves around a lot, the blind spot will move around a lot as well, making it much harder to make use of. But Kidomaru finds a way. Because he apparently has this special bow and arrow. First of all, the arrow like comes out of his mouth, which is weird and creepy and disgusting. But excuse me. But when he fires it, he's able to direct it and allow it to, kind of like Yondu's arrow in Guardians of the Galaxy. If anyone's seen that, of course you guys have seen that, but he is able to direct that arrow to remain in Neji's blind spot even as he moves around. That way Neji won't be able to see it coming. And Neji does eventually get impaled by that arrow, but by moving around just barely, he manages to keep it from being fatal. Neji takes a lot of damage in this volume. It's really kind of heartbreaking to see Neji just beat down by this. One thing will say about this part of the story, interestingly enough, when we see a battle take place in the story, and in other manga, I noticed this in Pokemon Adventures as well, you basically... the reader takes on the perspective of one of the combatants. Like, they see, like, oh, this person is setting this up, this person is setting that up, this person is setting that up. We need to find a way to creatively counter that. And we don't know anything about what the other person is doing. That way, when the other person counters it, they can do so in a surprise manner. Interestingly enough, we take the perspective of Kidomaru. We see the various ways that Kidomaru analyzes Neji and identifies how Neji is going to move, how Neji uses his Byakugan, the downsides of using the Byakugan. That way, whatever Neji is about to do, we can expect a surprise from him, like that kind of thing, that kind of dynamic, which is interesting. I don't think I've ever seen something like that happen in which we see the antagonist. We take the perspective of the antagonist as the combatant. In order to hide what the protagonist is planning on doing, how the protagonist is planning on countering that. Neji actually manages to live through a lot of Kidomaru's attacks, and I think my video cut out there. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, as I was saying, Neji manages to live through Kidomaru's attacks, and actually we do see Kidomaru's second state, very spider-like. Apparently he has golden skin, kind of difficult to understand remember with the black and white setup of the manga, but apparently he has golden skin. And Neji actually manages to trick Kidomaru into connecting him and his web and his little arrow thing to basically impale him, so that he can send chakra into it and basically hurt Kidomaru as well by taking the brunt of that attack. And he manages to outplay Kidomaru at his own game by using his gentle fist technique, by showing that not only can his fingertips emit chakra, but like every chakra point on his body can do so. He finds a lot of ways to outwit Kidomaru and barely manages to defeat him. That said, we do get this beautiful scene where he sees 8 birds and he's like, oh, I missed one again. Neji is finally, I think, this is a great development for Neji, in which he's identifying his flaws, the flaws of his Byakugan, and identifying where he needs to grow, how he needs to grow, and like drawing inspiration from Naruto. Again, another one of those like character gets inspired by Naruto after seeing Naruto's drive to become Hokage. So yeah, that was a good volume. Not a lot to go off of. Very much focused on Neji and his development, his progression, and seeing how he deals with Kidomaru and how he has grown from his encounter with Naruto in the Chunin exams. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Kiba deals with one of these Sound Ninja. We don't know a whole lot about Kiba, interestingly enough. We don't know anything about his clan. We don't know anything about his past. We don't know a whole lot about it. He took on Naruto at one point during the Chunin exams and very much taunted him and underestimated him, but that was all. So I'm very curious to see how Kiba's backstory and how his motivations and his past lead him to go make for an interesting battle against one of these Sound Ninja. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. Based on the pattern that's been established with Choji and Jirobo, and now Neji and Kidomaru. I'm also very curious to see how Shikamaru stands up to one of these Sound Ninja. And of course, Naruto and Sasuke. They have to duke it out eventually. They have to meet each other and, butt heads. They have to exchange their philosophical differences and try to convince the other that they're in the right and the other is in the wrong, using their mouths and their fists as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is a bit of a shorter video, so I'm going to end it off by saying, if you haven't already, check out my other ongoing series, Orange. It's a manga about a girl named Naho and a guy named Kakeru who might commit suicide in the future. And future Naho is trying to tell present Naho to do the things that would keep Kakeru from committing suicide. Well, hopefully keeping him from committing suicide. I almost said that completely wrong. But anyway, check that out if you haven't already. Also, check out my Pokemon Adventures Revisited series going on every Saturday, in which I revisit manga that I read as a child and see how it holds up as an adult. Pokemon Adventures is basically the story of the Pokemon games, except developed with more characters, a more plot-driven sort of setup. And yeah, if you haven't checked that out already, definitely check it out. And of course, stay tuned for my next Naruto video, and I will see you next time.